October 17, 2025. The streets of Chicago, Baltimore, and Los Angeles sat frozen under a gathering storm. For months, federal intelligence had traced the spread of a shadow empire, a ruthless syndicate known as the Block Kings, who had transformed public housing into fortresses of addiction. Their grip was merciless. 3 tons of narcotics moved every month, drowning entire cities and claiming an American life every 9 minutes. Behind every locked door, tragedy waited, children breathing in fentanyl dust through cracked vents, elders collapsing beside faded photographs of better days. That night, the United States launched Operation Inner Shield, a synchronized strike across 12 cities, deploying over 400 agents led by DEA tactical teams, backed by elite FBI and Homeland Security ICE units. Their mission was simple but desperate: reclaim the streets before another dawn fell upon a poisoned nation. Could America's finest dismantle this empire before it devoured yet another generation? Or would the Block Kings tighten their chokehold on the soul of the nation once again? 4:30 a.m., October 17, 2025. Beneath the dim orange haze of Chicago's South Side, the city held its breath. Neon lights flickered against decaying concrete, while the hum of overloaded power lines echoed through the cold air. In the South Side housing projects, silence wasn't peace, it was pressure waiting to explode. For months, the Block Kings, an alliance of gangster disciples, had turned America's inner cities into breeding grounds of addiction. Across Chicago, Baltimore, and Los Angeles, they operated from 63 abandoned units and 21 subsidized apartments, pushing nearly 3 tons of meth and fentanyl each month, enough to kill 5 million people. Their supply chains hid in plain sight: food trucks, fake pharmacies, and even senior care transporters doubling as couriers. The casualties weren't just the young. The forgotten elderly were dying too. In one complex of 1,200 residents, 410 were over 60. Overdose calls among seniors had risen 312% in a year. 1 in 5 overdose victims now came from government-funded senior housing. At a dim kitchen table, Margaret Lewis, 65, clutched a photo of her son dead at 37 from a fentanyl-laced pill bought for $10 in the same building where she now lived. "We don't lock our doors to keep out burglars anymore," she whispered. "We lock them to keep out the neighborhood ghosts." Outside, black vans crept through narrow alleys. Downtown, in a humming command post, DEA, FBI, ICE, and HSI agents studied a digital map scattered with red blinking dots. 12 targets, coordinates confirmed, countdown engaged. The clock read 4:49 a.m., and in the next 11 minutes, America's war on drugs would be redefined. Because this time, the battlefield wasn't across the border. It was right here inside America's own homes. It didn't start with a thunderclap, it started with data. 6,742 intercepted messages, 81 undercover buys, 4 months of unblinking surveillance. Behind the shaded glass of federal offices in Chicago, Baltimore, and Los Angeles, analysts began to trace a hidden empire running beneath America's feet. On the surface, the comms looked like routine logistics: 3 boxes west, 5 drops by noon. Beneath them lay metric tons of poison. The DEA confirmed the scale: 2.6 tons of narcotics every 30 days, funneled through 41 sham moving companies and 23 unlicensed courier services. The operation's take was staggering: roughly $480 million in street value each month, and more than 5,000 deliveries disguised as food or home medical supplies. The FBI Cyber Division found an even darker truth. 72 housing units officially listed as vacant were active drug labs. One Baltimore complex alone was churning out 50,000 counterfeit pills per week, many pressed with fentanyl concentrations 15 times stronger than medical standards. Disturbingly, over 60% of identified buyers were over 55 people seeking relief, not a quick fix. Intelligence traced precursors back through Tijuana and the Sinaloa corridor. 1.2 tons of chemicals hidden in cargo labeled as humanitarian aid. Customs records later showed 6 shipping containers of pill presses slipped through the port of Los Angeles under falsified disaster paperwork. By the evening of October 14th, the command map glowed a fatal red 12 strike zones across 3 states with a single objective: Special Agent Ramirez stood before the data wall and said, "They're not just killing cities. They're killing the people who built them." The decision was made. Operation Inner Shield would roll. The first blast didn't ring out so much as thud a pulse through concrete. At once, silence fractured across 12 neighborhoods, from Chicago's South Side to Baltimore's Park Heights and Los Angeles' Skid Row. Under cover of darkness, 37 armored vehicles rumbled out. 412 agents, DEA, ICE, FBI, and HSI moved in tight formation, each operator streaming live feeds back to a command screen in Louisville. 9 thermal drones swept roofs and alleyways, hunting heat signatures in basements and crawl spaces. In under 60 seconds, the breach orders arrived. Steel rams collapsed reinforced doors. Flashbangs detonated, white light cleaving grimy hallways as federal shouts swallowed the city's usual hum. In one squat house, agents found a lab, a dozen chemical vats, meth bubbling and steaming, each run producing more than 80 pounds per batch. The operation had begun, and with it, the long, jagged fight to reclaim the neighborhoods that had been stolen. A street value of nearly $5 million every 48 hours. 2 blocks away in Baltimore, a housing project unit disguised as a daycare exploded into chaos. 7 suspects armed with modified AR-15s opened fire through the thin drywall. The firefight lasted just 43 seconds, but when it ended, 3 gunmen were down and 68 pounds of fentanyl powder lay scattered across the floor, enough to kill 34 million people. Nearby, ICE agents uncovered something out of a nightmare, a hidden tunnel connecting 2 apartment basements, a covert pipeline for drugs and weapons that never saw daylight. In Los Angeles, the operation took an even darker turn. Agents stormed a parking garage where 1.2 million counterfeit pills were stacked in laundry bins labeled community donations. Within minutes, they seized 89 firearms, 12 fully automatic rifles, 4 belt-fed machine guns as tear gas rolled across the street. Firefighters evacuated the senior complex next door, 43 elderly residents trembling